Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Siva gedola, lion lion besimcha. Siva gedola, lion lion besimcha. Siva gedola, lion lion besimcha. Siva gedola, lion besimcha. Siva gedola, lion 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Siva gedola, lion besimcha. Siva gedola, lion lion besimcha. Siva gedola, lion lion besimcha. Siva gedola, lion besimcha. Someone smile. Be the reason someone smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles.
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Breakfast with Elli.
Mode ani lefanecha melech chai vekayam shechazarta bi nishmati bechemla רבה אמונתך.
صعبة جدا الظروف، بطلت غزة حالها قبل، ما ضلش حدا في البلد، الناس بتتقطع وبتترمى، الناس تحت الأنقاض مش قادرين نصل لها.
الله يرضى عليه يزن طبعا حافظ الميديكال سبلايز كله، اضطرينا في هيك ظروف انه يتطوع وطلب مني، قال لي يا ماما انا بساعدك بما اني حافظ المكان، لنقص في الكادر الطبي اضطرينا اضطرار نشغل اولادنا معنا، فهو الله يرضى عليه يعني معايا يد بيد.
هذا مش شغال. تعال يا راجل والله.
All right. Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with Ellie. It is Thursday, the 28th day of December, the 16th day of Tevet. The Torah portion is Vayechi, HaYom, Yom Chamishi l'Shabbos. Today's the fifth day, counting up towards Shabbos, and be learning the fifth Aliyah. Good morning. How are you? What is new, boys and girls and others? Wow. Well, we have a new intro, that's for sure. Yeah. A little bit of a new intro there with the countdown timer. We have chapter 2, or not chapter, but class 2 in in our study of the Maimer Basilagani, courtesy of Rabbi Chaim, and we'll be showing that in just a few minutes. And other than that, we got nothing great big to report over here. It is Shabbos Chazak. It's the Shabbos that we say goodbye to the Torah portion of Bereshis, the book of Bereshis, not the portion, but the book of Bereshis, and so much more. So let's get started. All right, men and boys, two front sitzas. Let's make a bracha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tzitzit.
Right, everyone al divrei Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah.
Abel.
הריני מקבל עלי מצוות עשה, של ואהבת לרעך כמוך. I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way.
All right, Torah Tzivalanu.
Torah ציווה לנו משה, מורשה קהילת יעקב. תורה ציווה לנו משה, מורשה קהילת יעקב.
Right, time to give tzedakah.
I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else to keep. Yeah, I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
Such a great mitzvah to with everything you do without multiply the effect. All right, and that takes us to the Shema. Right hand over your eyes, please.
Shema Yisrael,
Takes us to breakfast, coffee and yogurt. Apple cinnamon twist yogurt today. The Gavino Light. I love that. All right, are you ready? Making a bracha shahakol. Reza, good morning. Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shahakol nihya bidvaroi.
Coffee, blessed coffee. God bless you for being a friend. When the whole world turns on me, it's only you on which I can depend. I want to taste you in the morning and a few times throughout the day. Yes, a cup or two in the evening too. For me, it's the only way.
All right. Today in Jewish history. All right, it's an easy one today. Today was the salvation of the Jews of Baghdad. In 1638, Murad IV, the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, recaptured Baghdad from the Persian Shah after a 40-day siege. The Jews of Baghdad, who had suffered under the Shah's tenure, celebrated this day each year to praise Hashem for rescuing them from the Persian rule. According to legend, the Jews assisted in the capture by secretly conveying a message to the Sultan about a breach in the wall through which his forces could enter the city. Big day. Big day. You like that Sephardic Shema? Yeah, a lot of people do. So that's why we play that. All right. Israel's enemies' biggest mistake. What could that be?
I think the enemies of Israel really got this wrong. They looked at Israel like they always do, like Haman does, and sees a totally disunited people arguing with each other. Both Nasrallah from Lebanon, from the Hezbollah, and Sinwar, Yamach Shemam, these Rishonim have both spoken about the weakness of the Jewish people, the disunity of the Jewish people, and they've got this totally wrong. All they've done is, with tremendous pain and wounded us, but they've done is strengthened us, because they've brought out who we truly are. We are one people, which when push comes to shove, have an unbelievable self-sacrifice for the other and care about each other more than words can express.
Hashem echad u'shma echad. We are one people and always will be. All right? Never forget that. HaYom Yom for today.
היום הזה הוא זמן שמחתנו, שמע את התפילה שבליבנו, ותמחול את כל עוונותינו.
I was once talking to a Holocaust survivor and put this question to him. If during those darkest of moments, somebody would have told you that in just a couple of years after the war, there would be this tremendous rebirth of Jewish life, both in Israel and throughout the world, what would you have said, responded to that? And the fellow, and I'm sure others have had similar experiences, the fellow said that notion is as removed as you can imagine. Like there is no greater impossibility. And yet, here we are. And the miracle of Jewish survival is not just 60, 70 years old. I mean, this is the story of our people. If I had to point to one most amazing miracle in all of our history, it's the fact that we're here, that we exist. I mean, if our nation was subject to the type of laws that we studied in social studies with the rise and fall of empires and kingdoms, I mean, our people would have been wiped off this planet long ago. Listen to these words penned by Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak, the previous Rebbe of Chabad, in the midst of World War II. Take heed and listen, O Israel. The present age is the appointed time for the redemption by our righteous. Has it ever happened to you that you've been in a setting that is emotionally charged? So it could be a wedding and everybody around you is very happy and dancing. Or it could be a funeral where everyone is sad and weeping. And somehow you're in the middle of all of this and you cannot identify emotionally with what it is that's going on around you. Where does this emotional numbness come from? Well, Chassidus suggests that there is a possibility that this numbness, emotional numbness, stems from overindulgence. So if you are completely enveloped and absorbed in only physical and material self-indulgent activities, then that can have a numbing effect on the emotional or spiritual side of you. So how do you resolve this? Well, as humans, we are comprised of layers. There's our body, there is our heart, and then there is our soul. And different areas of Torah study will speak to different layers of our persona. Says today's HaYom, the third Rebbe of Chabad, the Tzemach Tzedek, once told his trusted disciple, Reb Hendel, in a private audience at Yechidus, studying Zohar uplifts the soul. Studying Midrash arouses the heart. And reciting Tehillim with tears washes out the vessel or washes out the body. So as we go through life, our body can pick up the grime of material self-indulgence. Reciting words of Tehillim have the power to restore our bodies to their natural and innate purity.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. That brings us to today's portion of Basi Lagani. Number 2, with Reb Chaim Silvera.
Good morning. Today we will be concluding the first chapter of Maimed Basi Lagani. Yesterday we left off with the intriguing question, why does the Pasuk say, "And they shall make for me a sanctuary, and I shall dwell within them"? The wording is significant here. It would make more sense to say, "And they shall make me a sanctuary, and I shall dwell within it." But the word used is betoicham, within them. Why the sudden change from the singular, referring to the sanctuary, to the plural, within them? The Frierdiker Rebbe says that within them refers to the Jewish people. God desires a sanctuary of sorts, a sort of mini Beis HaMikdash, within each one of us. In other words, he wants to live on earth in the Beis HaMikdash, but also within us, his people. Now there are 2 steps required to create such a sanctuary within each of us. The first step is, of course, to acknowledge that we are a part of God. an expression, an extension of his will and thoughts, so to speak. The second step is to acknowledge that God is a part of us. That in fact, we are in truth not separated from him, and that we do not exist independently of him, although our perception would suggest otherwise. When we have accomplished that second step, we can truly let God in and give him a sanctuary within ourselves. And this is the meaning of the word b'toicham, within them, in the above verse. Now the previous Rebbe gives us a detailed plan of how we can actually go through these two steps. In the actual Beis HaMikdash, sacrifices are made thrice daily upon the altar. In our own personal Beis HaMikdash, our korbanos, our sacrifices, are the refining processes that we do within our soul, to refine our souls, as well as our personal nature and the environment around us through the study of Torah and the performance of its mitzvahs. What do we mean by refining our neshamas and the environment? We are given two souls, the nefesh habahamis, the animal soul, and the nefesh elikis, the godly soul. The soul that really needs refining is the nefesh habahamis, the animal soul, because it's the one that has the lust, it has the passion, it has the drive. But it also is driven by instinct and driven by desire. Now the nefesh elikus, the godly soul, when the nefesh elikis is concerned only with kedusha, with only holy matters. It lacks passion, it lacks drive, it has no lust. It only cleaves to God and is elevated when we do holy things, godly things. In essence, it exists in the state of innocence and completion as if we still resided in Gan Eden. When we are driven to do holy things, to do kedusha, we sift through and refine the harsher elements of the nefesh habahamis, the animal soul. And we elevate the nefesh elikis. In addition, we refine and elevate the environment around us. What do we mean by the environment? The world is ruled by two opposing forces, kedusha, which is holiness, and the sitra achra, which is unholiness. When we do things of holiness, we bring life force, life energy to the cosmic force of kedusha. When we sin, or we do avedas, or we don't do something that we should or could be doing when the opportunity presents itself, we give life energy to the sitra achra. The Rebbe now describes two types of divine light, soivev kol almin and mamale kol almin. Soivev kol almin is the light that encompasses all of the worlds, and mamale kol almin is the light that permeates or fills all of the worlds. Before moving on, let's just briefly review the spiritual worlds. From top to bottom, there is Atzilus, Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya. Asiya is our world, and it is the lowest world. The Rebbe quotes the Zohar, which states, when the Sitra Achra is subdued, the glory of Hashem rises, and it is diffused throughout all of the worlds. The meaning of this statement, says the Rebbe, is as explained previously, that when we learn Torah and keep the mitzvahs, the life energy of the Sitra Achra is decreased, and the Sitra Achra is subdued, allowing God's glory to rise, as well as allowing the two lights explained above to diffuse throughout all four worlds. The Rebbe then explains the unique difference between Soivev Kol Almin and Mamale Kol Almin. that the light of Sovev Kol Almin, the light of Mamala Kol Almin permeates all worlds, but only according to each world's capacity, meaning that for the lower worlds, it is almost completely concealed or obscured, while the light of Sovev Kol Almin surrounds or encompasses all four worlds equally. That concludes Perek Aleph of the Maimer. We will continue with Perek Beis, Chapter 2, in Yirtzeh Hashem, tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.
Right, fantastic. Got great feedback from yesterday, so we continue, and we'll do this, God willing, every day. All right? And now, we'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
And now, a word from our sponsors. PestProRidol.com.
PestProRidol.com. Trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidol.com.
Tarzane Group. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to tarzanegroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565 and order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at tarzanegroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign@gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications, logos, wall hangings, Judaica, and you can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text. Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Elli when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe.
All right. Patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, breakfastwithelli.live/new computer if you would like to help make this dream of a new computer a reality, because we're kind of desperate. I hate being desperate. All right. Rabbi Sachs, Covenant and Conversation. Here we go.
Are not predicting the future. Jacob was on his deathbed. He summoned his children. He wanted to bless them before he died. But the text begins with a strange semi-repetition. Gather around so I can tell you what will happen to you in the days to come. Assemble and listen, sons of Jacob. Listen to your father Israel. This seems to be saying the same thing twice, with one difference. In the first sentence, there's a reference to what will happen to you in the days to come, literally, ba'acharit hayamim, at the end of days. This is missing from the second sentence. Rashi, following the Gemara, says, Bikesh Yaakov legalot et haketz nitztalka mimenu shechina. Jacob wished to reveal what would happen in the future, but the divine presence was removed from him. He tried to foresee the future, but found he could not. This is no minor detail. It's a fundamental feature of Jewish spirituality. We believe that we cannot predict the future when it comes to human beings because we make the future by our choices. The script has not yet been written. The future is radically open. This was a major difference between ancient Israel and ancient Greece. The Greeks believed in fate, Moira, even blind fate, and Anke. When the Delphic oracle told Laius that he would have a son who would kill him, he took every precaution to make sure it didn't happen. When the child was born, Laius nailed him by his feet to a rock and left him to die. A passing shepherd found and saved him, and he was eventually raised by the king and queen of Corinth. Because his feet were permanently misshapen, he came to be known as Oedipus, the swollen-footed. The rest of the story is well known. Everything the oracle foresaw happened, and every act designed to avoid it actually helped bring it about. Once the oracle has been spoken and fate has been sealed, all attempts to avoid it are in vain. This cluster of ideas lies at the heart of one of the great Greek contributions to civilization, namely tragedy. Astonishingly, given the many centuries of Jewish suffering, Biblical Hebrew has no word for tragedy. The word ason means a mishap, a disaster, a calamity, but not a tragedy in the classic sense. A tragedy is a drama with a sad outcome, involving a hero destined to experience downfall or destruction through a character flaw or a conflict with an overpowering force, such as fate. Judaism has no word for this because we don't believe in fate as something blind, inevitable, and inexorable. We are free. We can choose. Or as Isaac Bashevis Singer put it, we must be free. We have no choice. Rarely is this more powerfully asserted than in the Unatane Tokef prayer we say on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Even after we have said that Rosh Hashanah Yikasevun Yom Kippur Yechatemut, on Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed who will live and who will die, we still go on to say Shuvo, Sefilo, Tzedakah, Mavirin, et Ra, Gezerah, Tshuva, prayer, and charity avert the evil of the decree. There is no sentence against which we cannot appeal. No verdict we cannot mitigate by showing that we've repented and we have changed. There's a classic example of this in Tanakh. Hezekiah is told that he is ill and at the point of death, and Isaiah goes to visit him and says, this is what the Lord says, put your house in order because you are going to die, you will not recover. Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and prayed to the Lord, and God did indeed forgive him and give him another 15 years of life. The prophet Isaiah told Hezekiah that he wouldn't recover, but he did. And the Talmud infers from this that even if a sharp sword rests on your neck, do not desist from prayer. We pray for a good fate, but we do not reconcile ourselves to fatalism. Hence, there is a fundamental difference between a prophecy and a prediction. If a prediction comes true, it has succeeded. But if a prophecy comes true, it has failed.
We will continue with that, God willing, tomorrow. All right, in the fifth Aliyah, Gad, the tribe of Gad, was blessed with bravery in battle. Asher's blessing, abundance of shemen zayis, olive oil. Naphtali was blessed with the speed of a deer, and Yosef was recognized for his charm, his suffering, and his tzidkus, his righteousness, and was showered with a variety of blessings. And now, on to Chumash and Rashi with Rabbi Aftzin. All right. And that takes us to Parsha points. What happened here? Excuse me. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Parsha points with Rabbi Epstein.
Parsha points Vayechi for Thursday. Never meet a rich man. When you ask him, are you rich? He'll always say, no, that guy, he's rich. The tribe of Asher is blessed with oil, so much oil that knew no limits. King Solomon describes this as one who feigns poverty but has great wealth. There's great wealth within you and me, our neshama. Don't feign poverty, inability. Display your godly wealth.
Beautiful. Shnayim Yomi for today.
Perashat Vayechi, Aliyah Chamishi. We're continuing with the berachot of the brothers. God receives a blessing for bravery in battle. As we say in Kriyat Shema Alamita, God gedud yegudenu v'hu yagud akev. God is not afraid of anybody. In fact, the Gemara says, the rabbis say, that all the strong warriors came from God. If you look in Perashat Vezot HaBaracha, Moshe Rabbeinu, before he passes away, he gives a beracha to God and he says, V'tarav zeroa av kod. God, it was amazing how he went into battle. He was able to bring down the person's head along with his shoulder. At one time, at one blow, he brought down the whole head with the shoulder. And Yaakov Avinu tells him over here, you're going to have the mighty soldiers and you're going to be very brave in battle. And that's why we say Kriyat Shema Al-Mitah, because we don't want any of the impure spirits to be around us in our bedtime. And that's why we say that as a symbolic item or symbolic meaning to bring down all the impure spirits around us. That was God. Asher has a beracha of abundance of olive oil. Asher shemena lahmo v'uiten ma'adane melech. All the zetim, we just finished Hanukkah. The zayit came from the portion of Asher. That's where all the zayit, that's where all the zetim came. That's where they used to make oil from. Why? From the beracha of Yaakov Avinu. He gave him a beracha of abundance of oil. That's Asher. Naphtali has the beracha of swiftness of a deer. Naphtali ayala sheluha hanoten imre shafen. Naphtali was very fast. In fact, we know that in this week's parasha, when the brothers came to bury Yaakov Avinu, and Esav didn't let them because the deed of Me'at HaMechpelah was back in Mitzrayim, and they forgot it. Who did they send to get the deed? They sent Naphtali. Why? Because Naphtali is very swift. Naphtali is very fast. Finally, we have Yosef. Yosef ben Porat, Yosef ben Porat alei ayin, the most coveted Aliyah, if you want to say, in this parasha, even though they're all blessings, but the most coveted ones that the people want to spend all the big bucks on is Yosef as-Sadiq. Ben Porat Yosef, Ben Porat alei ayin, and Yaakov Avinu is saying exactly what happened in Mitzrayim. Vaymareruhu varobu vayistemu ba'alei hitzim. And the ladies also, they threw all their charms on Yosef because he was so handsome. And Yaakov Avinu showered Yosef with a diverse array of blessings. He gave him, as we said, Ben Porat Yosef, and he said in the end, let me just remember the beracha. מאל אביך ויעזרך ואל שדי ויברכך ברכות שמיים מעל ברכות תהום רובצת תחת ברכות שמיים ורחם ברכות אביך גברו על ברכות אולי. Unbelievable what he says. He says your berachot that you're getting right now is even stronger than the berachot that I got. This is Yosef. Why? Because Yosef really was the prized possession of Yaakov Avinu. As we know, it says in Parashat Vayechi, Ele toledot Yaakov, Yosef. Yosef is ben zikunim. Not that Yaakov Avinu favored, well really the Gemara Shabbat says he did favor Yosef, but Yaakov Avinu loved all his children, but Yosef, because he was ben zikunim, now he's showering him with all the berachot more than all the other brothers.
All right. And that takes us to Rabbi Zusha Zilberstein.
Will ultimately. Oh, yes, my friends. I know. Tzedakah again. Yes, every day, every time. Whenever we have an opportunity. It will
ultimately bring us the redemption. But let's hope it should be soon. And after the redemption, there will be Tchias HaMesim, the resurrection of the dead. Now, exactly how this is going to happen, we'll find out. But they will come out from burial. That's for sure. The full bodies will come out from burial. The reason why I'm saying this is because I came across a very most interesting story in Tanakh discussed in the Gemara Sanhedrin. And there in the Gemara Sanhedrin, the Gemara discusses about how cemeteries should be organized, who gets buried next to whom, and so on and so forth. And there they bring the following story. And the story is told in Kings, in Melachim, where there was a false prophet who was killed by a lion. But it wasn't devoured. And they found him, they found the body, and they buried him without really realizing where exactly they buried him. And then it turned out that he was buried right next to the prophet Elisha. And he was so close that his bones, his remains, actually touched the body of Elisha. I'm saying the body because I presume Elisha being this great Navi, so his body didn't decompose. Says tzaddikim, even after their passing, their bodies stay intact. And he found many different situations, many different times when they had to remove, transport, exhume bodies from tzaddikim, from cemeteries, because they were going to destroy the cemetery. And then they realized that years and years later, the body was intact. So I want to believe that the same thing was with Elisha. So the remains of this individual is touching the body of Elisha. So God made a miracle that this individual, this false prophet, was revived. And he left so that he should not be lying next to the prophet. Why is this so relevant today? What happened in the parsha of this week? We learned that Yaakov was going to be buried in Ma'aras HaMachpelah. We are told that on the way, Esav came, claimed it's my place. It's my burial place. Anyway, there's a discussion, there's an argument, and there was a fellow by the name Chushim. He was deaf-mute, and he saw that his tonton, his uncle Esav, is once again making issues, great uncle. He took matters in his hand, basically chopped off Esav's head. Esav lost his head over the burial. Miraculously, it kept on rolling. It rolled and followed the procession all the way to Ma'aras HaMachpelah, and there's different opinions where it landed. One opinion says that it landed at the feet of Yaakov, in other words, recognizing, acquiescing, yes, it is Yaakov's place, and I'm just next to his feet, I'm below Yaakov. Others say that it was in the lap of Yitzchak. Some say it was just there somewhere in Ma'aras HaMachpelah. But in any case, he ended up in Ma'aras HaMachpelah, either on the lap of Yitzchak or by the feet of Esav. And here's the question: how could it be that a wicked individual such as Esav should be buried, at least partially, next to Yitzchak or next to Yaakov? As we just learned, that God even made a miracle that a wicked individual was revived so as not to be buried next to the prophet Elisha. So here's a beautiful, beautiful thought, the way the Rebbe looks at things. Where it says about Esav being in the lap of Yitzchak, or at the foot of Yaakov, there the Lashon is, the Reishe de Esav, the head of Esav, begoy itfe de Yitzchak, in the lap of Yitzchak. The head of Esav. Telling is the following. The head of Esav was fine. The head of Esav in his head on a higher level was great. The problem was when it was connected to the body. The head connected to the body became a wicked behavior. But really the essence of Esav, the head of Esav, was good, was holy. Yitzchak didn't see the body of Esav. Yitzchak only saw the head of Esav. Yitzchak saw the beauty of Esav, the holiness of Esav, the greatness of Esav. As the Gemara says that Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says, I never honored my father, even 100 the way Esav honored his father. Yitzchak only saw the head. When the head is severed from the body, it's perfect. Which is to tell us, when we look at another person, look at the head. Look at the potential. Look at the qualities. Don't look at the negativity. And this way, you will elevate him and you'll bring him into your lap. That's the way to look at a Jew, and that's what brings us to Geula.
All right. Delicious stuff. Oh my goodness, I have so many things that I can show you. Let's do the Chief Rabbi of Israel. The Chief Rabbi of England today.
Of all communal organizations, which is the most sacred of them all? In Parshat Vayechi we read, HaYaakov was preparing for his death. He told Yosef his son, Ve'asita imadi chesed ve'emet, please practice kindness and truth with me when I would have passed away. Now, what did Yaakov mean? Chesed infers going the extra mile in order to engage in acts of compassion. Emet, truth, means you must do what is right. That's it. So on the one hand he's saying, do the right thing. On the other hand he's saying, go the extra mile. Sefer Panim Yafot explains beautifully. Yaakov was saying to Yosef, do what is right, the emet. And that is, as a child, you have a responsibility to bury your father. In addition to that, I would love you to engage in chesed. I would love you to go the extra mile in order to take my remains back to the Holy Land so that I can be buried together with my ancestors. This term, chesed ve'emet, is the slogan of every single Chevra Kedisha in the world. Indeed, it is the Chevra Kedisha translated as sacred society, which to my mind is definitely the most precious of all of our communal organizations. Simply extraordinary men and women who in their separate divisions look after people once they have physically passed away. And within our communities, we're blessed to have their chesed ve'emet. First of all, they do what is right to guarantee that every person will have a burial. And in addition, the chesed that they apply, their acts of loving kindness, going the extra mile with such devotion to those who have passed away and to their families, is something very remarkable for all of us always to witness. Their kindness is of the ultimate form, because the person to whom they are showing kindness will not be able to repay it in any way. It's absolutely sincere. It comes from the heart, and it is in the finest tradition and spirit of our faith. You probably don't even know who the members of your Chevra Kedisha are. That's the spirit in which they are operating. They don't do it for any thanks, but let's ensure as communities that we do always express our full gratitude to these most wonderful people. Shabbat Shalom.
Let us now hear from Rabbi Minkowitz before we move on.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Vayechi. The question of the week is, what are real blessings? So in this week's Torah portion, Yaakov blesses all his children. So the Zohar, as we're learning, says as follows, that all the children were blessed, and he gives an example. Yehuda, where he says, Ata Yiducha Achecha, your brothers are going to acknowledge you. Dan, in reference to Dan, Yodin Amoy. And then he says, May Asher, for the tribe of Asher, Shmein Alachma, his bread is going to be fat and luxurious, etc. And he says, V'chein Chulu. So in other words, even though the Zohar says that he blessed them all, he lists only three. Yehuda, Dan, and Asher. Why is that? So the Rebbe's father explains, and he says like this. Because when they traveled, Yehuda was the first of the Dgalim. He was the first one. Now, since up until Yehuda, technically he criticized them, so he mentions the first one that traveled first. Once he mentions the first one that travels, so he mentions the one that traveled the last one, done. And then he mentions Asher in the middle. What's the connection? The Rebbe says like this. Yehuda and Dan, the first and the last, represent the right and the left, Chesed and Gvura. Asher, on the other hand, he's connected to which sphere of Bina, which is higher than Chesed and Gvura, and that's why he mentions that one. A step deeper, the Rebbe's father explains that it says, Me'asher shmeina lachma. He doesn't say lechem bread, it uses the word lachma as a vav. What's the idea of a vav? Because he draws in from the highest level, and that's how he's able to unite Yehuda and Dan. A step deeper, the Rebbe's father explains that Asher was blessed that shmeina lachma, his bread was fat. So the Rebbe says, if you take the word lachma, fat, so lamed is 30, which is the same numerical value as Yehuda, because Yehuda is spelled with a Yud, a Hey, a Vav, and a Daled and a Hey, which is 30. That's the letter Lamed. And then you have left over a Ches Mem Vav, which is 54. And you take Don is Dalet is 4, and Nun is 50, so it's 54. So Lachma has the same numerical value as Yehuda and Don. Again, the Lamed represents Yehuda, and the Ches Mem Vav represents the idea of Don. So you see that basically there's a real connection between all the three. So Rebbe says, 1 second. Let's look at all the tribes. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, they all have beautiful qualities. And in reality is that he all praise their qualities. But nevertheless, even though he praised their qualities, but it was done in a critical way. And because it was done in a critical way, that's why the Zohar doesn't list that. Because why? Because what does the Zohar list? Only things that's in a revealed way of a blessing. So the answer to the question, what is a real blessing? A real blessing is a blessing with no criticism and no negativity, just a pure blessing, like Yehuda received, like Dan received, and like Asher received. So let's hope and pray we learn what a revealed blessing is, and only sheer, revealed, and beautiful blessings. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. This week's Torah lesson is dedicated to the memory of Baruch Ben Aryeh, Shlomo Yosef, Rachel Baslipa, Tzina Basara. May their souls be elevated by Torah we're studying in their memory. For more information, please see our website,
All right, it is time to say Tehillim. And you know how important that is. The saying of Tehillim can overturn all the gezeras, all the evil, all the decrees that would be, God forbid, against the Jewish people, chas b'shalom, but you can avert those by saying Tehillim. All right? It's very, very important. Let's do this. All right, fantastic. Chapters 23 and chapter 122 together. Here we go.
מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי, לא אחסר, בינוס תשע, ירביצני, על מי מנוחוס ינהלני, נפשי שובב, ינחני במעגלי צדק, למען שמו, גם כי לך בגיא צלמובס, לא ירא, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי. תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני. כל ימי חיי ושבתי בביס אדוני לאורך ימים.
שמע לישראל ושמחתי וימנים לי ושאלינו הנה אלי איים דויסו יהודה ויעדוס לישראל להוידויס לשם עלינו כי שם ישבו חיזויס במשפט כי זייס לבייס דוד שאלו שלום מירושלים ישלויו אוהבויך
Tanya.
All right. Excellent. Tanya for the day. Let's go. Lots to do.
Tanya thoughts for the 16th of Teves. When you get excited, don't get so excited. Like a step stool helps one reach the top shelf but doesn't make him taller. When you're davening or some other spiritually uplifting experience elevates your nefesh elokis, don't rely on that feeling. Stay vigilant. Your nefesh habahamis has only been quieted, not eliminated. And once they remove that step stool, you'll be left standing on your tippy toes to get to that same height once again. So utilize the ladders, get above it as high as you can. Just remember what got you there. And when it's gone, don't fall down and get hit hard.
Let's talk Tanya for the 16th of Teves of a leap year. We're middle of chapter 10, and we're middle of talking about the tzaddik. As we explained in the previous chapter, there is a battle going on between the godly soul and the animal soul within every single one of us, or at least that's the way it begins. And there are three outcomes to the battle. The first one is a person who is a tzaddik, meaning that the godly soul is victorious. The animal soul is incapacitated. It's, for all practical purposes, it's not functioning. As we mentioned briefly yesterday, however, there are actually two different levels within tzaddik. So in this possible outcome in the battle, generally we talk about a tzaddik, but within tzaddik there are two different levels of tzaddik, and these are known as the tzaddik gomer, which is the complete tzaddik, and the tzaddik she'eni gomer, which is the incomplete tzaddik. The incomplete tzaddik, we'll start with that one. The incomplete tzaddik is someone who has incapacitated the animal soul, has delivered it a knockout blow to the point that it's not functioning, it's in hibernation, but ultimately it exists. The complete tzaddik, on the other hand, is someone who not only has given the animal soul a knockout blow, but actually succeeds in transforming the animal soul to holiness. Actually, the animal soul itself right now, all it desires is a connection with God through learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. Now, these two levels of tzaddik, we're talking about them as they are in relation to the animal soul. Did you just give it a knockout blow? Did you transform it? But where does it really begin? It begins with the level of love that the tzaddik experiences for God. And this is something that we spoke about in the Tanya of 2 days ago, that there are two different levels of love. The lower level of love is the fiery love, the love which is that characterized by yearning and thirsting for God. And that is the level of love of the lower tzaddik, the incomplete tzaddik, which results in the animal soul being incapacitated, but still in existence. The complete tzaddik is the one who has the ava b'tanugim, the love which is characterized by pleasure. That tzaddik is actually experiencing an intimate relationship with God and taking pleasure in it. That sort of love actually is able to transform the animal soul to holiness. Now, the lower level of tzaddik, the incomplete tzaddik, that is something which is not so rare. That is something which the Talmud tells us there are 18,000 of these tzaddikim throughout the generation. However, the higher level of tzaddik, the complete tzaddik, that is something which is very, very rare. That's literally someone who is a complete tzaddik is in rare company. And in the Talmud, we have Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, he says, Ra'isi b'nei Aliyah v'hei mu'atim, which means that I have seen truly elevated people, and they're very few in number. He says, in our, he was talking about his generation, maybe there's two and maybe there's one. And that's something which is very rare, to be able to have this level of love for God, this pleasurable love, and that sort of experiencing godliness, which results in the complete tzaddik, is something which is very rare. And the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, the reason why these are called Bnei Aliyah, elevated people, is because the word Aliyah, elevated, can also, we can play with that word. It means the tzaddik who has elevated, the one who has elevated their animal soul, which again, the incomplete tzaddik has not elevated and transformed their animal soul, just is doing a great job suppressing it completely. But the one who is the Bnei Aliyah, the complete tzaddik, is the one who has elevated, transformed, and elevated their animal soul. There is another reason why the complete tzaddik is called a Bnei Aliyah, is considered an elevated person, and that we'll find out, God willing, in tomorrow's Tanya.
No, it's not impossible that Tevet did say.
The Rambam.
Just study Rambam each and every day. I'll never miss my daily Rambam.
Baruch Hashem, it is day number 250 of our daily study of Rambam Sefer Mitzvahs, and in the 3 chapters a day study track of Mishnah Torah, we're starting a new section in the Sefer Nezikin, the book of damages. We just finished Hilchas Gneva, the laws of theft. Now we're starting Hilchas Gzela, or to be more precise, Gzela ve'aveda, the laws of robbery and lost objects. Those two subjects get paired together. So our mitzvah today, we have one mitzvah, negative commandment 245, the prohibition against gzela, the prohibition against robbery. Again, what is the difference between gneva and gzela? Gneva is theft, sneaking in surreptitiously and stealing something, hoping not to get caught. Gzela is strong arm robbery. Stick them up, empty out your pockets, that kind of thing. Okay. So, I'm going to tell you something that if you've been with us for a while, or at least since day 189, it will be familiar to you. The remedy or the correction for Gzela, one who transgresses this prohibition, is to return the article that he stole. And let's say he no longer has the article that he stole, he burnt it or he threw it into the sea, so then he has to give back the value of the object that he stole. But let's say he swears falsely that he didn't steal it, then there's an additional penalty. He has to pay back a fifth. And we've explained before, this fifth is not 20%, it's actually 25% of the original principal. Because the fifth doesn't mean the fifth of the original number, it means of the total number, the end number. So let's say he stole something that's worth $100. A fifth doesn't mean $20, it means $25. Because if you take 25 plus 100, 125, so 25 is a fifth of 125. It's a fifth of the total number you get when you add the penalty to the original principal. Okay, so he has to pay back the value of the stolen article plus the fifth, plus, and this is what you may remember from day 189, there is a mitzvah positive commandment 71 that we learned many weeks ago in Hilchas Shgagos, in the book of Karbonos. He brings a special osham, a special guilt offering for his gzela, for his robbery. And that is part of his atonement, in addition to paying the penalty of an extra fifth. That's our mitzvah for today. We will see you for more tomorrow, God willing.
Today we again study negative mitzvah 251, the Torah's prohibition to cheat with our words. Yesterday we defined this cheating in one way. cheating in the sense of taunting, making a person feel bad with our words. Another way to define this prohibition of cheating is in the sense of misleading. It's forbidden to purposely mislead others with our words in ways that will hurt them. So Rambam gives a couple of examples. Firstly, a person who sees peddlers coming into a town looking for customers is forbidden to direct them to a place where he knows for sure there are no potential customers. That's misleading them with his words. Another example could be walking into a store and asking about the price of a certain product which you have no intention to buy. You're arousing the seller's excitement because he thinks you're going to buy it, and really you're thinking you're not even planning to buy it. In that case, to ask for the price would be misleading. The Talmud tells us that cheating or taunting with our words is even greater than cheating in business transactions.
Think about that next time you go shopping. It's something to really think about. All right, matters of Mashiach. All right, for today, the 16th day of Tevet, only when Mashiach comes, which should be speedily in our times, we will begin to appreciate the days of Galut, exile. These days of Galut are the times to work on preparing ourselves for the coming of Mashiach. The difficulties, obstacles, and darkness of Galut draw out our hidden potential and abilities, causing us to grow and mature. This mode of spiritual growth is like an airplane. An airplane flies by way of air rushing under the wings. The resistance doesn't stop the plane from moving. On the contrary, it makes this plane soar. So too, we have to take advantage of the challenges and darknesses of exile. We must use it as a springboard, catapulting us towards Mashiach. A thought.
I need your help, and you can help me. But how? My name is Davi, and I am a professional magician. For the last couple of years, I've been doing magic tricks, and our brothers in Israel are fighting for a war. Their families are not smiling. I want to go there and make them happy. I just don't know who to contact. If you know who I should contact, please let me know in the comments.
All right, there you go. Davi the magician is looking for your help to be Mesameach Yidden. All right, our PSAs.
With your weekly donation of $7, you will get access to a fitness library of from music, amazing exercise to get stronger, healthier, so that you can get stronger, and your donation can help Masfia, Soup Kitchen Network, help strengthen so many people and stay strong for many years to come.
Here it is. Flatbush Borough Park and Queens. In Rockland County, it's tomcheshabbos.org. In Lakewood, it's tomche.org. breakfastwithelli.live/Chicago Food Bank for the Midwest. Achi Ezer, an amazing organization that's there to provide all of your needs, both physical, financial, mental, spiritual, whatever you need, they can help you out in an emergency, and even not in an emergency. Hatzalah EMS, available now by using their Global Assist app, which will point them right towards you. It's available on the iOS and the Android stores. Miss Askim, in times of bereavement, Miss Askim is there to help you out. From A to Z, they can help you navigate the sea of confusion that will naturally arise from losing a loved one. Just One Shabbos, a wonderful organization dedicated to bringing our youth back to the beautiful mitzvah of keeping Shabbat, one Shabbat at a time. If you are, God forbid, time in progress, please call 911. And when you're out and about, you need to be wearing a mask.
Mask, wear a mask. Is this really much to ask? Tie some fabric around your face. Oh, it's the simplest of tasks. At the gym, at the store. Don't treat it like such a chore.
But immune compromised, always wears a mask. Just got COVID and the flu all at once. That's not fun. Trust me. All right. So please get your vaccinations once a year. That's all you need now. Once a year, and once a lifetime for the RSV, should you be so inclined. All right. Bringing heaven down to earth. Ready? Our souls are the windows through which the world pores, through which it breathes, channels to its eternal course. There is no function more vital than our universe, nothing more essential to its fulfillment, since for this it was formed. When we do acts of love, speak words of kindness, teach wisdom, when we fail, windows cloud over. Such a shame, this loss of light, lost breath of fresh air, stain to be washed away. But a moment of life, how can it return? Keep those windows open. Come talk to me more about it. The Active Rabbis group, media, at Clubhouse or Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, or the actorsrabbi.com, where you can also sign up for life coaching services. Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesronan al kol ma sheborasa lachayos bohem nefesh kol chai baruch chai ha'olamim. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Take care, sponsor. Just over it all. Bracha Biederman, Avi G in the UK, our honorary sponsor, Rabbi Chaim Silvera, who is doing that beautiful, beautiful Basilagani for us every single day. We've got a little bit of a story for you here. Let me see if I can find it quick. Otherwise, I'm going to be a fool because I just told you I got a story, and I don't. Yeah, I don't have it. I thought I had it. All right. It'll be for later. But in the meantime, a young girl named Maria, a Moshe Yes song, redone by his son Tali Yes. And I think you're going to really, really like this. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song, a beautiful tribute. There's a story with it, but I can't find it right now. So I will tell you the story that goes with the song tomorrow. All right, it is Thursday. Go out and do something nice, something good for someone today. In the words of Rabbi Isaac Kalmer, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you. Draw a fellow close, and Hashem will draw you close to him. Make it a great and glorious day. Please be the reason someone smiles, and I will talk to you, God willing, tomorrow. Tali Yes, a young girl named Maria. See you tomorrow.
Some folks say it's alright, but I know it's just sad to turn your back on what you are and all you've ever had. I knew him back in Dallas when he used his Jewish name. But a young girl named Maria kind of made his whole life change. A young girl named Maria kind of made his whole life change. He said he really loved her, though he knew it wasn't right. He threw away God's kingdom a little bit each night. I shake my head and wonder just how this can come to be. With a young girl named Maria and a boy who wouldn't see. A young girl named Maria and a boy who wouldn't see. It's not a brand new story, it happens every day. They get up, they pack their bags and simply walk away. Moms and dads are crying when they see them leaving home. With young girls named Maria who got him for their own. With young girls named Maria who got him for their own. Some folks say it's alright, but I know it's just sad to turn your back on what you are and all you've ever had. I knew him back in Dallas when he used his Jewish name. Till a young girl named Maria kind of made his whole life change. A young girl named Maria kind of made his whole life change.